And today we're delving into a topic that's bound to stir some excitement: the top 10 chests in bodybuilding history. This list has been a joy to compile, and I must say, it came together a bit more straightforwardly than our previous rankings on shoulders. Unlike the shoulders, which are visible from almost every angle, the chest muscles are primarily showcased from the front and sides and truly shine in just a few key poses. The side chest pose is paramount for this ranking. It's named for the chest, after all, so it's no surprise this pose was the primary criterion. Additionally, the chest muscles are prominently featured in the most muscular pose and play a significant role in the front lat spread and when standing relaxed or semi-relaxed. Beyond these, however, their importance diminishes. What's fascinating about this list is the stark contrast to our shoulder rankings. While modern-day mass monsters dominated the shoulder category, the golden era of bodybuilding takes the spotlight when it comes to chests. Remarkably, only 2 of the 10 bodybuilders in this countdown competed after the 1980s. This is a testament to the fact that despite advances in training, equipment, nutrition, and enhancement techniques, bodybuilders from the 70s and 80s often boasted superior chest development compared to their 21st century counterparts. So if you're a fan of old school bodybuilding, you're in for a treat. The suspense is building, and we're about to celebrate the legends whose chest development remains unparalleled to this day. Let's dive in and reveal the top 10 chests in bodybuilding history. Now let's get into it. Coming in at number 10 is the late, great Serge Nobret. Serge's chest was the epitome of aesthetic beauty. It had a beautifully sculpted, sloping shape and impressive thickness when viewed from the side. His relaxed posture often highlighted the natural elegance of his pecs. The main reason Serge isn't higher on the list is the lack of detail and striations when he flexed in the side chest pose. He seemed to focus more on expanding his chest and ribcage rather than contracting his pecs as intensely as bodybuilders today. Nonetheless, Serge's chest remains one of the most timeless and beautifully developed in history. At number 9, we have Gary Strydom, whose upper body was remarkable with standout pecs, delts, and triceps. Although he narrowly missed out on the best shoulders list, his chest earns him a spot here. Gary's pecs were uniformly thick across all dimensions, outer to inner, upper to lower. This uniformity was evident in his most muscular pose and his strong side chest. Strydom's dense, hard look likely came from years of heavy lifting. In side-by-side comparisons with Mr. Olympia Lee Haney, Strydom's chest held its own, although Haney's larger surface area and more striated appearance often gave him a slight edge. Roy Callender, our number 8, might not be as well known as some others, but his chest was incredibly impressive. His pecs were round, thick, and some of the most striated of all time. The deep clefts cutting through his chest were his most defining feature. The only downside was that his chest lacked width, and his pecs appeared somewhat elongated and narrow. Despite this, Callender's chest was unique and deservedly among the best. At number 7, we leap forward to the turn of the century with Marcus Rule, the ultimate mass monster. It was tricky to place Rule amidst the classic physiques on this list, but his early career chest was a marvel. Before his pecs developed that infamous gap, they were incredibly massive, wide, and ripped. Rule's pecs were dominant in his early competitions, even more so than his shoulders. However, his chest lacked the smooth, rounded contours of the more graceful physiques, and his consistency was an issue as his pecs deteriorated over time. Landing at number 6 is Lee Haney, who was known for his exceptional pec development throughout his career. After his world-class back, Haney's chest was his standout feature. His pecs were always thick, full, and shredded from top to bottom in every pose. His chest played a crucial role in his devastating front lat spread and powerful most muscular pose. Haney's chest often outshone his triceps in the side tricep pose and was a major advantage over rivals like Dorian Yates. At number 5, we have the towering Lou Ferrigno, the original Incredible Hulk. Standing at 6, Lou was one of the tallest bodybuilders ever to compete at the Olympia level. His chest development was akin to Arnold's, with broad, powerful pecs supported by a massive ribcage that took up a large part of his torso. Ferrigno's chest was dominant, but he could have benefited from a bit more thickness and striations for his size. Still, his chest was impressive and ranks high on this list. The late Franco Columbu, coming in at number 4, is another legend with an outstanding chest. Despite being only 5', Franco's pecs were massive, thick, and featured a unique horizontal split that gave them a distinct look. His upper chest was particularly well developed, likely a result of his powerlifting background. While his pecs were sometimes a bit too square and blocky for some tastes, their size, thickness, and separation were unparalleled. Before we hit the top 3, let's mention a few honorable mentions who didn't quite make the cut. Big Ramy, with all the mass and thickness in the world, Ramy's chest is huge, but often lacks the definition and detail of the Golden Era champions. Cedric McMillan, Cedric's chest has the pleasing proportions of the Golden Era, but sometimes appears droopy or shows signs of gynecomastia. Dexter Jackson and Branch Warren both built incredibly thick chests, but lacked the width and larger-than-life proportions of the top contenders. Kevin Levrone, famous for his side chest pose, but his shoulders and triceps often overshadowed his pecs. Sean Ray and Chris Cormier both had aesthetic, well-developed chests, but lacked the size to compete with the top picks. Dennis James had excellent upper pec separation and width, but his chest muscles often looked spongy and lacked deep fiber detail. Juan Morella's chest stands out among current bodybuilders, but compared to the best of all time, it's more grainy and vascular than defined. Now, let's move on to the top 3. Bertil Fox takes the number 3 spot. Fox had one of the most massive and deeply defined chests of the Golden Era. His pecs were thick slabs of muscle that would still stand out on today's Olympia stage. Fox's side chest and most muscular poses were among the best, displaying unparalleled depth and striations for his time. He was like the Paul Dillette of his era, a massive, freaky muscle monster with some good flow and incredible body parts, but he struggled with posing and back development. Nevertheless, his chest was legendary. In second place is the great Ronnie Coleman. Ronnie's pecs were immense, rivaling Bertil Fox's in size, but benefiting from the advancements of the 90s and 2000s. His chest dominated the side chest in most muscular poses throughout his reign. If we could measure total muscle volume, Ronnie's chest would probably top the list. Even his longtime rival, Jay Cutler, couldn't resist admiring it. The only minor flaw was the slight asymmetry and zigzag split down his sternum, but it gave him a unique look that was instantly recognizable. And at number 1, no surprises here, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold's chest has been surpassed in thickness and width by some, but no one has ever achieved a better overall chest. His pecs were magnificently proportioned, blending size, shape, and symmetry perfectly. Whether viewed from the front or side, Arnold's chest was huge, aesthetic, and timeless. His upper pecs were so developed that he claimed he could balance a glass of water on them in the side chest pose. Arnold's chest has stood the test of time and remains the greatest in bodybuilding history. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this countdown, please drop a like and subscribe for more.